Hello everybody. Today we want to talk about how to draw the trigonometric graphs, and we start with sine. It is the whole shape of a sine function, a sine of bx plus c plus d. We solve this it is complete function. We solve it and it can cover every of the graph of sine, because it has amplitude, it has period, it has shift on x-axis, and it has shift on y-axis. So let's at first, what is this? It is shift on y-axis. What is this? This is phase shift or shift on x-axis. What is this? For cosine and sine, we have by b we can find period. Period is 2 pi for cosine and sine. It is 2 pi over b. And a is amplitude. A is my amplitude. Okay. We solve this problem step by step to understand whole thing about the sine graph. For phase shift, usually we do this. The bracket equals 0. Then we can find x. X is minus c over b. Let's draw the graph one by one. Suppose that at first I know the whole shape of the graph of y equals sine x. It's better to understand this. The graph of y equals sine x is like this. For example, I want to draw between 0 and 2 pi. It comes here, go down. I know in 2 pi and 0 sine is 0, and in pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, y should be amplitude. My amplitude here is 1 and minus 1. And I can draw y equal minus sine x. It's better to understand the shape of them. In minus sine x, what will happen? In minus sine x, I should go down at first. After that go up, and again here I have 2 pi. I have pi here. I have 0. I have pi over 2 in minimum point, and I have 3 pi over 2 in maximum point. It is the whole shape of sine x and minus sine x. So when we have minus sine x, we start from down. When we have sine x, we start to up. Now let's go to the graph. Let's erase them. Okay, I have y equal, let's write this example. I have y equal, I want to draw it step by step. 8 sine 5x minus pi over 2 plus 3. At first I have y equal 8 sine x. Okay, I know what is the sine x, yes? Only need to shift y as amplitude. So my amplitude is 8. It means in the sine x, if I had 1 my maximum point and minus 1 my minimum point, now I have positive 8 and minus 8. So here is minus 8, suppose that here is positive 8. So I draw easily the graph of sine x, but it comes to 8 and minus 8 and finish into pi. Again here is pi, and in pi over 2, if you put here pi over 2, we will have 8y equal 8 sine pi over 2. Here is pi over 2. It will be how much? Sine pi over 2 is 1. So 8 times 1 is 8. So it shows my graph on pi over 2. I have 8. Okay. Now the second part. Y equal 8 sine 5x. Okay, I say my amplitude is positive negative 8, and I have a period here. My period is 2 pi over 5. Okay, to understand where it has intersection with y-axis, I should put y equals 0. Then I have sine 5x equals 0. 8 cannot be equal 0, so sine 5x is equal 0. Where x equals 0? Suppose that we want to draw it between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, where sine is 0? We know 5x should be equal on 0, pi and 2 pi. Okay, it is 5x now. X is how much? X is all divided by 5. 0, pi over 5 and 2 pi over 5. What does it mean? It means my graph will finish in 2 pi over 5. And it has intersection with 0, pi over 5 and 2 pi over 5. Let's draw. Suppose that here this point is 2 pi over 5. It is very smaller than 2 pi. And I know between 0 and 2 pi is pi over 5. I need only this point and this point, and easily can find them. How? By say pi over 5, mid of them. Pi over 5 divided by 2. It is pi over 10. Or we can say pi over 10 easily. I can, let's write it better, pi over 10, and here if pi over 5 plus 2 pi over 5 and divided by 2, I will have 3 pi over 10. My amplitude is 8 and minus 8. Suppose that 8 is here and minus 8 is here. Now if I want to draw, I can do the point to the x and y and find them, but easily I know in 0 and pi over 5 and 2 pi over 5 my graph should be 0 because I found it before. So easily I draw the shape of sine is this. So easily I draw it. Now go to the next part. Next part, we add shift on x-axis. To add shift on x-axis, we should have a whole bracket. So at this time, my graph is y equal 8 sine 5x minus pi over 2. I know my period is again 2 pi over 5, and I know to find the shift on x-axis I should say 5x minus pi over 2 means the bracket equals 0. Then I know x equal pi over 10. So it is a start point, my start point. So what is my end point? My end point is the start point plus p. Now pi over 10 plus p. P is 2 pi over 5. Easily the answer is pi over 2. My graph will finish in pi over 2. It is finishing point. So I will have a graph, and I know the whole shape of a sine is like what. Okay, so I start pi over 10 here, and I finish by pi over 2. So before solving it, we say y where is equals 0. Then we know that if we solve it as x, we should have 5x, say 8 sine 5x minus pi over 2 plus 3 equals 0. So because I don't have too much space here, let's solve it and simplify in my mind. So I know excuse me, I don't have plus 3. In this part I have only this is equal 0. So easily I can say 5x minus pi over 2 is equal 0. So x is pi over 2 divided by 5 is pi over 10, but we found it. Now I don't want this. I want this where y is 0. So in which point y is 0? I know in which point sine is 0. Easily I can say 5x minus pi over 2 is 0. So in which point sine is 0? When sine is on the point pi 0 and pi and 2 pi. So 1 time 5x minus pi over 2 is 0. 1 time 5x minus pi over 2 is pi. Minus pi over 2 is pi, and 1 time 5x minus pi over 2, the bracket, is equal to pi, because my x is between 0 and 2 pi. So easily I can find here x is equal pi over 10. I have intersection with with x-axis, and here x is 3 pi over 10. The next intersection with y-axis, and here x is pi over 2. These are the points that I can show on the graph. Now pi over 10, 3 pi over 10, and pi over 2. I need 2 points between them to draw the graph, and easily I know here it will be 8, because I don't have shift on y axis, so easily I write my amplitude here. I know I should start from pi over 10 and come up, and again on 3 pi over 10 is 0, and pi over 2 is 0 again. Easily I can draw the graph, and I know here it will be 2 pi over 10, and here is 4 pi over 10. 3 pi over 10 plus pi over 2 divided by 2 is 4 pi over 10. Now let's go to solving the y equal a sine 5x minus pi over 2 plus 3. Okay, because I have shift on y-axis, so I will have new amplitude. My new amplitude is I know my amplitude is positive negative 8. Because I have shift here, it said positive 8 plus 3. Positive negative 8 plus 3. So 1 time positive 8 plus 3, it will be 11. 1 time minus 8 plus 3, it will be minus 5. I know the period is 2 pi over 5. I know shift on x-axis or phase shift is x equal pi over 10, and this is my start point, and I know my end point will be in 2 pi over 5 plus pi over 10. It will be on pi over 2. It is the end point. Okay, now I want to draw it. I can say here is pi over 10, and here is 3 pi over 10. Suppose that bring it here, it is pi over 2, the end point. And I know here the y-axis, the x-axis has intersection with the graph on pi over 10, 3 pi over 10, and pi over 2. But my amplitude here now is 11, and here is minus 5 because of this. It means that if I want to start from pi over 10, I know the graph of sine is start from 0. So pi over 10, if I want to start from pi over 10, here in the midpoint I should go on the maximum point. The maximum point is this point and my amplitudes. So what is this point? We found it is 2 pi over 10. How? By pi over 10 plus 3 pi over 10 divided by 2. And this is 4 pi over 10 by 3 pi over 10 plus pi over 2 divided by 2. So easily we drew this graph. So if you have this graph, you can draw it easily by this way. No need to start from the step 1 to till the last step. Only need to know how is my amplitude, how much is my amplitude, how is the shift on x-axis or phase shift, and how is the shift on y-axis. So easily you can draw it. Only I wanted to tell you step by step to understand it better. Thank you for watching this video, and please push the subscribe button and like if you like this video, and have a good time.